I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome everyone this morning. If you're looking for Buzz, I'm sorry, you got me today. So it probably will. The good news is it'll probably be shorter than what Buzz will do because he really has this well rehearsed and practiced, and I certainly don't. So I would like to read the West LA Chamber of Commerce mission statement, which is to enhance business opportunities for members in the West LA Chamber and the West LA business community through referral, advocacy, and education. So the purpose of this breakfast is for all of us to have that opportunity to get to know one another. You're probably not going to close $1 million deal today, but it is an opportunity to get to know someone, and hopefully we will see you at the next breakfast as well, and the next events, and you'll be able to get to know and build those relationships. And that's really the idea behind any of these events, is to actually have an opportunity to build those relationships. If I can see a show of hands really quick, who has actually done business with someone in the West LA Chamber? I know I have. So you can see, for those who are maybe new and it's your first time here, that this is through building those relationships, it is an opportunity to do business with those in the local area. We would like to acknowledge our guests today. We do have Can Oguz, the Consul General of the Republic of Turkey. He's here. He'll be speaking to us later. If I got his name wrong, I do apologize for that. Hopefully got close enough. I also would like to acknowledge the LAPD. We have, I believe, 3 of our officers here, and thank them for the fine job they do. If we get out of hand, they'll take care of business, they told me. So now what we'd like to do is dive into our table networking. So for those who are new, who's new here? If you get a show of hands. Okay. So I'm going to explain it really quick, and hopefully everyone will be able to get it. Pretty easy. What you do is you go around the table, and everyone has 1 minute to give a personal presentation. There will be one person at the table who will be the timekeeper, so people don't go over. But it's a chance to talk about the things that you do, what your business is, pass your business cards around. So hopefully you brought probably at least, looking at today's breakfast, probably 20 to 30 business cards. So people can have an opportunity to learn about what you do. So we'll have about 10 minutes to go through that, and then from there we'll continue on with the breakfast. So do we have timekeepers at every table?
Yeah.
PJ, you'll take care of business there? Christine, you'll take care of it? Phil, can I get you to take care of things there?
Yes, sir.
Bill, can you be the timekeeper? And you'll get it. Okay, so we'll get started with that. So go ahead. The timekeepers are going to stay at the table they're at, and everyone else should have gotten, or will be getting shortly, a little slip which will tell you the next table you're going to. But before that happens, we'd like to invite Christina, as she takes a bite. We'd like to invite her up to talk about our next upcoming event.
Okay. Hi, good morning. Every month we have networking at noon, and this month it's next Friday from noon to 1:30, and we're going to have it at Ruth Bay's Place, Delphi Greek on Westwood Boulevard. What's your address, Ruth Bay? 1383 Westwood Boulevard. There's parking. Parking in the area is fun. So there's meters, there's street parking, there's Uber. Sometimes I park at Ross and buy something, so you just kind of have to get creative.
Or CVS.
Yeah, CVS. So we'd love to see you there. Members, you're welcome. And if you're not a member, please come and check it out because it's a different format. It's much more casual. You'll get to talk to everybody a lot more than here. We'll go around, we'll do like a 1-minute commercial presentations, and then we'll just sit and have lunch. So thank you, hope to see you there.
Thank you, Christine. And just to add to that, I mean, I've been to Ruth's Bay's restaurant numerous times. Chicken rigatoni, get that, you won't go wrong. For me, parking's easy on Midvale, which is, I believe, the street right behind his restaurant, and also there is the Ross that you can park underground too. So Hope to see everyone there. We also have the Women's Networking event as well too, which is coming up, and our mixer coming up as well too. Check out the website for more information on those things. Board members, Chris, Alham, Nima, Phil. You're supposed to be standing, Phil. So we'd just like to thank them for everything they do to help manage and move the chamber along. Just acknowledge them and our president, Ruby Barhanapur. Thank you for everything you do. So before we go to our third round of table networking, we would like to hear from our speaker. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Can Oguz. Once again, if I'm getting his name wrong, close enough.
Exactly.
So probably one of the best looking speakers we've had thus far. So, you know, if nothing else, right? So probably, you know, they sent me his bio, and I'm going to read a few things from that. Probably the most important part they put at the bottom. I don't know why that is, but I'm sure his people will fix it. But he was born in Izmir, I'm getting that right, in 1978, so relatively young. And I say that because he's younger than I am. And most important part, married and 2 children. Yeah, okay. He's been a career officer in the Turkish diplomatic service since 2000. Before assuming his duties as Turkey's Consul General to Los Angeles in December 2017, he served as the head of department in the Deputy Directorate General for Iraq at the Turkish Foreign Ministry between 2015 and 2017. I tried to memorize that. Anyways, he served in the Turkish embassy in Washington, D.C. as a political counselor between 2010 and 2015. Prior to his tenure in Washington, D.C., he served as first secretary in the Deputy Directorate for Iraq between 2008 and 2010. He holds a degree in international relations from Ankara University Faculty of Political Science, and his high school degree is also from Izmir Turkish College. Please give a warm West LA Chamber of Commerce welcome for Can Oguz.
Well, good morning, and thank you very much for that very encouraging and uplifting introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning again. For giving me this opportunity. Mr. Farahanpur, yes, esteemed members of the West Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce, distinguished members of the LAPD, I'm honored to be with such a distinguished group of people this morning. Well, it's been just over a month since I came to Los Angeles and assumed my duties as Turkish Consul General in Los Angeles, in this town. Actually, I've been here before when I was serving in DC. I spent 4 days with my family back in 2014, and we really enjoyed being in this town then as tourists. So I'm thankful for my Minister of Foreign Affairs for granting me the honor and privilege to serve my country and our citizens in this spectacular corner of the United States. My area as Consul General covers 12 states on the West Coast, including Hawaii and Alaska. It's a huge territory to cover. Nevertheless, it provides me a chance to see different parts of this country. And I'll do my best to kind of find and come up with an excuse to visit each state at least once while I'm here. And needless to say, Los Angeles will be our home for the next couple of years, few years. This city embodies the dynamism, wealth, diversity, and promise that California, the Golden State, represents. It offers immense opportunities for economic, commercial, and cultural cooperation, and I'll do my best to explore these opportunities. Economically, needless to say, you know better than I do, California and Greater Los Angeles area are among the drivers of the global economy, and I believe that there are many avenues for increased economic collaboration between Turkey and Los Angeles. For that, both sides need to know each other better. In this regard, again, I would like to thank the West Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce for giving me the opportunity to talk about Turkey. In my remarks, I'll focus on Turkey-US relations and why the friendship, partnership, and alliance between our two countries matter. This is an alliance that needs to be preserved and strengthened, and I will offer Turkey's perspective on what needs to be done towards this objective. So, we are in for some heavy stuff this morning. But let me start by sharing some facts and figures about Turkey and its economy, because as members of the community, you would appreciate more than I do how important information is. We are a country of roughly 80 million people. Historically and geographically, we are located at the crossroads of different continents, cultures, and civilizations. And by the way, we brought some brochures about various parts of Turkey's history, touristic and historic side. You may grab them on your way out. Turkey is a member of NATO since 1952. It is also a member of OSCE, OECD, and Council of Europe. We are still in accession negotiations with the European Union. Our GDP in 2016 was $860 billion. It was $616 billion for the first 3 quarters of 2017, and the GDP growth in the first 3 quarters of 2017 was 7.4%. So, as you can see, Turkey is a dynamic country and a vibrant economy with a huge potential. The important point here is that we are a country that maintains this good level of progress in one of the most challenging neighborhoods in the world. At least one of the hotspots that impacts the global affairs today and that you read about every day in your newspapers is either bordering or close to Turkey. This proximity to volatility directly influences our policies, because whatever happens in our region has a direct impact on the security, economy, and social life in Turkey. And the news in our region, as you know, are hardly good, not only today, but also in the recent history. If we take a look at the past 4 decades, since 1979, I kind of take it, since the Iranian Revolution in 79, we have withstood the adverse implications of the Iran-Iraq War, the Gulf War after Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, the operation to topple Saddam Hussein in 2003, and the insurgency that followed. And today we are grappling with the crisis in Syria and the ongoing fight against Daesh, aka ISIS. So, in this past 4 decades, every 10 years there was a major regional crisis with global implications, and it is right next to us. I would kindly urge you to keep in mind this history and our proximity to the trouble spots while assessing Turkey's reactions to and policies concerning the events in its neighborhood. Our region is still undergoing the tectonic shifts unleashed by the Arab Spring. The collapse of state system in the region resulted in large ungoverned territories. Lack of state authority compounded by marginalization, disenfranchisement, poverty, and power struggle in the region, among the regional countries, fueled extremism, sectarianism, and violence. Daesh, terrorist organization, capitalized on this fertile ground and posed the international community with the gravest security crisis in the recent history. Syria and Iraq, which we share a combined border of 800 miles, suffered most dramatically and tragically from the turbulence in the region. As a result, hundreds of thousands of innocent people were brutally murdered by Daesh and other radical extremist militias that thrived on the polarization triggered by foreign atrocities. The infrastructure and economy of the region have been destroyed. Millions have been forced to leave their homes, which resulted in the burst refugee crisis that the world has seen since the Second World War. The magnitude and unprecedented nature of the military, economic, and social crises in the region mobilized the international community to form a coalition of 60 countries to defeat Daesh and fight radical extremism. 4 years after the foundation of this international coalition, Daesh has been defeated in Iraq. It has been dealt a devastating blow in Syria and is on retreat there. And thanks to our joint efforts, which included vast military and economic resources, and also to the great sacrifices of the people in the region, now military victory is within reach. My country, Turkey, has been a leading member of the coalition against Daesh since its inception and has actively fought against it. We have opened our military bases and airspace to the coalition operations. We have put in place strong measures to stop the flow of foreign terrorist fighters. We have detained more than 10,000 members of Daesh and Al-Qaeda affiliates, deported around 5,800 terrorists, and denied entry to more than 4,000 suspicious travelers. Thanks to the Operation Euphrates Shields, which was conducted by the Turkish Army, an area of almost 1,000 square miles was cleared from Daesh in 2016. This is in Syria, by the way, next to our border. Consequently, hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees returned to their homes. In these areas, we rebuilt the infrastructure, provided free healthcare to local residents, and created local councils to ensure a wide political representation, so that they are comfortable to go back to their countries, which I think all of them want. Needless to say, all this tumultuous pace in our neighborhood came at a high economic, social, and security cost for Turkey. Today, we host nearly 3.5 million refugees from Syria, and to this day, we have spent nearly $30 billion to meet the needs of the Syrians that took refuge in our country. Daesh targeted our citizens in many terrorist attacks. Furthermore, the PKK, PYD, YPG, whatever you call it, terrorist organization, is the same, exploited the turbulence in the region to step up its attacks in Turkey. While we were dealing with the fallout of the crisis in the region, another terrorist group called FETÖ, members of which had infiltrated the most critical positions in bureaucracy, staged a coup attempt to topple the democratically elected government. 250 innocent lives, our citizens, were lost while defending the democratic institutions. Our parliament was unfortunately bombarded by our own jets, which were taken by the members of this group, which infiltrated the military. In face of all these adversities, we have shown the resilience and strength to pull up our own weight and maintain our course. During this volatile phase in the region, Turkey conducted free nationwide elections and a referendum. Our financial system remains robust, and as I said, for last year, which we project, I think the growth of GDP will be around 7%. We have managed to tackle the challenges caused by the huge influx of refugees. We have achieved many military accomplishments against Daesh. These are all on the military side. These are encouraging and must be appreciated. However, we believe that military wins alone are not sufficient and serious risks lie ahead. Ultimate success in dealing a lasting defeat to Daesh and bringing enduring stability, prosperity, and security to the region is contingent on working with the right partners on the ground and with a long-term strategic view. And this is where we have differences with the United States. Since the outset, Turkey consistently maintained the view that there should be a unified front against all the terrorist organizations on the ground. In this regard, we have strenuously warned our allies against collaborating with the YPG-PYD, which is the extension of the PKK terrorist organization, designated as such by the United States and European Union. The link between PKK and YPG-PYD, I'm going to say this acronym quite a lot, just to make an impact, because these are all the same. It is a fact. It is accepted by all the experts of the matter. This link has also been considered by the US officials on various occasions. PYD has targeted innocent lives in Turkey and continues to do so. Its atrocities and human rights violations are established in the reports of various international agencies. Inclusivity, wide representation, and empowerment of local groups, irrespective of their ethnic, sectarian, or political affiliations, are prerequisites of achieving enduring security and stability in the region. YPG-PYD represents one of these principles. It is a terrorist group which espouses Stalinism. It is solely driven by its own parochial, divisive, and polarizing agenda. YPG is taking advantage of the United States under the false pretense of fighting Daesh to occupy territories, and to change demographics in its favor. US reliance on PYD, we believe, is a self-inflicted error. Recent history taught us that in our region, enemy of our enemy is nothing but another enemy. It should also be noted that PYD-YPG uses Syrian territories to train militants, plan terror attacks, and provide weapons and ammunition to PKK in Turkey. Over the last year alone, YPG has launched more than 700 attacks from Afrin, Syria, in the north part, which is contiguous to our border, which it controls, against Turkish cities. Faced with a clear and present danger caused by PYD-YPG presence on our border, we were left with no other option but to launch Operation Olive Branch on January 20th, last month. This operation's objective is to ensure the security of our borders and neutralize terrorists in Afrin. It is carried out on the basis of international law with utmost precaution to avoid civilian casualties. It does not target the Syrian Kurds. Its target is a terrorist organization that has waged a bloody and dirty war against Turkey, a key NATO ally, for over 30 years. Only by eliminating all terrorist threats in Syria, we can ensure peace and security and protect Syria's territorial integrity. So, after all this, what do we want from the United States? The answer is simple. We would like to see the United States stand by Turkey against a terrorist organization that is a national security threat to its NATO ally. We believe that we deserve the respect and support of the United States in this essential fight. We should not allow short-term tactical gains and expediency to undermine our long-term strategic interests and alliances. We cannot afford further mistakes in the fight against terrorism, and failing to see the PKK threat in Syria is a mistake of historic proportions. The other issue that puts our bilateral relations under strain is the FETÖ presence in the United States. Turkish people are frustrated with the lack of legal action by the United States against this national security threat. FETÖ is an organization that targeted the civilian rule in Turkey and caused huge civilian losses to achieve its ill-conceived plans. We firmly believe that we have a strong case for the extradition of the leader of this terrorist organization to Turkey. We have provided all the necessary evidence to substantiate our request. Now we expect expeditious completion of this process. These two crucial challenges that I just mentioned are testing our alliance nowadays. But I'm a diplomat and I'm living in Brussels. Allow me to remind you that this is not the first time that we are facing difficulties in our relations. In the past, we have navigated many troubled periods in our partnership and relationship alliance. Our alliance emerged stronger from every previous challenge that we faced, because we know that ultimately what brings us together is stronger than our differences. This is an alliance forged in the aftermath of the Second World War, strengthened during the Cold War, and raised to a strategic level in the post-9/11 era. We believe that we have enough muscle memory to overcome the current difficulties. For that, we expect the United States to understand and empathize with our point of view. We have strong institutional bonds and economic as well as commercial ties that will help us tackle our differences. Now, to the economic side of our relationship. The United States ranks second after Germany. The companies with US capital is around $54 billion. For Turkey, the United States is the fifth biggest export market. Turkish investments in the US are rapidly increasing. In 2017, our bilateral trade volume has been $19 billion. This is not enough. We should work on it, but it gives us a good foundation and reason to work through our differences and focus on our joint strategic interests. In this regard, reinforcing commercial ties between our two countries would reflect positively on the political climate. In conclusion, I would kindly invite you to pay closer attention to our perspective on the current dynamics playing out in our region, because we live there. Those places that you read about or you hear about in the news are right next door. when we look from the borders, we are there, and we have suffered enough from the negative events that have been going on for the past years, and we know how to deal with this. I mean, what we need is to come up with joint strategies, policies that will take into account how we feel about our region, because we are there. As members of the business community, you know better than everyone that right business decisions depend on sound information. My staff, stand ready to provide you with our side of the story. Turkish Airlines has daily flights to Turkey from Los Angeles to Istanbul. I would strongly recommend and encourage you to go and visit Turkey and see for yourselves what's going on there. Talk with the people, and we are ready to, help you facilitate any business delegations or business for touristic purposes, should you like to visit Turkey. Again, I'm thankful for this opportunity, and I would like to thank you for listening to me and inviting me to share my country's point of view. And of course, I'm ready to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, as a student here in California, I know that there's a thing going on in the student government of a lot of schools to divest from the government of Turkey because of a lot of human rights violations and the fact that Turkey has the largest number of jailed journalists in the world and things like that they're doing to either civilian population or people that are trying to report on what the president is doing. So I think there's like a divestment address from the UC system and also some stuff going on in the California state legislation that they're trying to take out some funds from the government of Turkey. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that and how you feel and what, because I didn't really hear that addressed in your remarks.
Well, of course, thank you very much for that question and for the opportunity to kind of expand on that. I just explained in details what we are going through, and we are faced with various terrorist organizations trying to disrupt political order, and we have recently faced a dramatic attempt to topple the government. So most of the legal action that is being taken in our country is against those who are affiliated with these. So, regardless of your profession, what area of work you are in, if you are involved in illegal actions, there is a legal course that needs to be taken. United States is a country of rule of law. If there is something wrong, then you take this to the appropriate legal courses. And that is what they do.
Go ahead.
The
Human Rights Watch had reported even before the coup in 2016 that Turkey had the largest number of jailed journalists and reporters. So what I'm referring, just to clarify, is before the coup even happened, and this was a fact in Turkey.
But since, as I said, the recent events unfolding in our region has a direct impact in Turkey, and I would strongly encourage you to go and take a look at the Ministry of Justice's website, and you can see what are the reasons. They are not under detention because of their journalistic activities, but they are subject to legal action because they are involved in these issues. They have affiliations with the terrorist organizations. Carrying a press card doesn't necessarily make you immune from breaking the law. And these are all ongoing, investigations and legal cases. And some of them, during the course, can either the case against them are not strong enough, and they are being released. But those who are detained, I would again strongly encourage you to look in each and every specific case, are not because they are carrying out journalistic activities, because they have affiliation or in one way or another with these organizations that are carrying out illegal activities in Turkey. I'm on the divestment side of the thing. I mean, this doesn't help. I mean, this is politicizing the issue, and I don't think that the targeting Turkey in that it would self-defeating.
John, I think Phil actually has a.
If
I mean, it's probably something that maybe can be addressed.
Maybe you can talk about this
Just
later.
one follow-up, I wanted to
No,
ask, because the government.
everyone needs to have an opportunity to ask a question.
Was willing to, because.
Well, you can probably talk afterward. I'd ask you to be respectful to our
Yeah,
guests.
of course, I'm being respectful. I just want to ask because you didn't answer
Paul,
one
out of
part of my
time?
question that I wanted to
I
wanted to address. The fact that.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so-
Is Turkey actively seeking partnerships with small businesses to import and export? Like I'm in the medical supply field. Is there an opportunity for small businesses to work with the Turkish government to supply whatever? How would someone go about getting the right contacts to start importing or exporting
Well,
supplies?
it's pretty easy, and we encourage small and medium-sized enterprises to increase their businesses, interaction with Turkey. After my first month here, I see many opportunities that we, both sides here. I'm talking about the West Coast, Los Angeles, to increase engagement and economic collaboration with Turkey, and it's easy. We are ready to provide you with a know-how, how you should go about it. And we encourage foreign investment in Turkey, and the other way around. I mean, just let us know. There are some incentives, that our government provides if you are interested in starting up businesses in Turkey, and also for those small and mid-sized enterprises who are interested in doing business in this side, in the United States or the West Coast. So there are many avenues that we can.
So you can help us navigate any tariffs or duties that might be involved in it?
Well, I'm sure. I don't want to go into the details, but I don't want to mislead you. But there are many incentives. I mean, it is pretty easy nowadays. The investment climate, and just let us know. I can give you my card and my colleagues are around here. And
No podium commitments. No commitments from the podium. So, Neem, sorry to move on, Neem, if you could.
I'm in the car rental industry, and we deal with travel, and I'm wondering, we're always interested in, of course, having more business, and what's your view on travel from Turkey to United States, whether it's on a business or pleasure, and we have locations in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and San Francisco. How do you see that over time, tourism and businesses coming to California, Nevada, United States in general, I guess, but for my case, these are...
it's on the rise. To be honest, as the Consul General, those who are registered with us, the Turkish citizens are around 50,000. But there are many other Turkish citizens that come and, purchase residence in Los Angeles. Turkish Airlines do not only fly to Los Angeles, but also to San Francisco, and they're always fully booked. And there is an increasing interest in Turkey to this side of the United States. There are many places, Vegas, this area, offers a lot of convention conference facilities, and various sectors in Turkey are exploring what they can do, because there are many. When I look at this economy and the sectors that you can work in, there can be a complementary approach to build partnership, and our government supports those businesses who are interested in starting investing in the United States. I think there are, I'm not quite sure about the numbers, but in the neighborhood of 10 small or medium-sized enterprises that are receiving grants from Turkey to maintain business. And I can give you they contact them, put you in touch with them. But definitely, this is a destination, commercial and economically, Turkey is interested in, and we encourage that. To be honest, I mean, because of the distances, usually the economic interest is also on the East Coast, right? New York, New Jersey, and Miami. But this is going to be one of my priorities, to bring Turkish business community together with local businesses and introduce them, because we are aligned more with, in tune with more European markets. In order to start a business in the United States, you have to reconfigure, or from the bottom, you have to build your business approach from the start with the rules and regulations of this country. For that, you need information, and for that, you need, guidance. So we are trying to bring the two sides together to kind of exchange views and information on that.
Thank you. From this side, I'm here. I would love to be in touch.
Okay, sorry, we don't have any more time for questions. We have to get to our last round of table network.
To address
Once again,
rights violations or
in
economic interests.
in the name of being respectful.
Just let me know.
I just want to say
I understand your point of view, and I appreciate
the
that.
way you're making it sound is we should put economic interests ahead of human rights interests. Well, the government in Turkey and Erdogan is solidifying all this power and
You lived in the post
powers.
9/11 era,
Well,
and
you were in Iraq when the United
it's hard
States
to strike a
government
balance
wanted to
between
use the
economic
air
liberties
bases Turkey had, and the Turkish government was the one that didn't allow the United
security.
States to.
All right,
The
thank you.
Turkish government was the one that didn't allow the
Paul,
United States to
Paul,
use
I'm going to have to
the
actually end the conversation now. We need to move on to our next round of table networking. John, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. So if you look at your slip of paper, you should have a third round that you need to go to at this point. We're going to try to get through that quickly. We have about 10 minutes to do that, and then we'll wrap up the breakfast. If you do have any further questions from the Consul General, he and his staff are here. You can certainly talk to them directly. Thank you. Okay, if I can just have everyone's attention, and then we'll wrap up, and we can take pictures and everything, and it'll go a few minutes over. But Buzz always ends with the famous quote. I don't have one of those for you, but I do have a quote from my father, which I really love. He always tells me, everyone could do it, everyone would do it, and they wouldn't pay you what they pay you to do it. Go out and have a great day today. Thank you.